To do well on IGCSE Economics Paper 2, you need to recognize that every theory you've studied traces back to one unavoidable problem. Every market, every government policy, and every individual choice begins right here. That problem is scarcity. We live in a world where resources are strictly limited, but human wants are completely unlimited. Because we cannot have everything, choices must be made. You have to pick a path, and taking one route automatically means giving up the other. The exact value of that sacrificed path is called the opportunity cost. It is the next best alternative foregone when a choice is made. If a government chooses to spend its budget building new roads, the opportunity cost is the hospital they can no longer afford to construct. Recognizing scarcity and calculating the opportunity cost provides the lens you need to evaluate every micro and macroeconomic decision you will write about on your exam. When we look at how consumers react to the prices born from these choices, we measure it using price elasticity of demand, or PED. The formula to remember is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. If demand is inelastic, meaning the PED is less than 1, a huge swing in price causes almost no change in the quantity demanded. People still need to buy their medicine and fuel regardless of the cost. If those goods were highly responsive to the price drop, demand would be elastic. Calculating PED dictates exactly how businesses should set their prices to maximize revenue, and it allows governments to accurately project their tax collections. Sometimes the free market fails to allocate these resources efficiently. When that occurs, you have market failure. The four main causes are public goods, merit and demerit goods, information failure, and externalities. An externality is a cost or benefit forced onto a third party who wasn't involved in the transaction. If it is positive, like education, society benefits. But if it is a negative externality, like factory pollution, society absorbs the cost. To prove this mathematically in your essays, state that the social cost equals the private cost plus the external cost. The private action directly creates the social damage. Pinpointing these exact external costs provides the required justification for when and why a government must legally intervene in a free market. Zooming out from individual markets to entire national economies, we hit the broad destabilizers. The first is inflation, defined simply as a sustained rise in the general price level. This pressure comes from two directions: excess aggregate demand pulling prices up from above, or rising production costs pushing them up from below. Either way, consumer purchasing power drops and savers lose out. The second major destabilizer is unemployment. This occurs when people who are willing and perfectly able to work cannot find a job. You have to categorize them accurately. Cyclical unemployment happens when there is a lack of demand in the economy. Structural unemployment happens when entire industries decline or change. And frictional unemployment happens when people are moving between jobs. Treating structural unemployment, where workers lack the necessary skills, with a policy designed for cyclical demand will leave those workers without jobs regardless of how much the government spends. Success depends on matching the policy to the specific type of instability. So, if domestic markets are already this complex, why do countries trade with each other at all? The answer is comparative advantage. A country has a comparative advantage when it can produce a good at a lower opportunity cost than another nation. It does not matter if one country produces a larger absolute volume of everything. Trade happens strictly because of opportunity cost. When these countries execute that trade, they navigate the exchange rate, which is simply the price of one currency expressed in terms of another. If a currency appreciates and rises in value, its exports become more expensive for foreigners to buy, while imports become cheaper. If the currency depreciates, the opposite occurs. Comparative advantage dictates what specific goods a country should be exporting, while the exchange rate determines how profitable that trade will actually be on the global stage. This chart shows a standard upward trend, representing basic economic growth, where GDP simply increases. But do not fall into the trap of confusing this growth with our final concept, economic development. True development requires a measurable improvement in the standard of living and quality of life for the population. You need to see actual advancements in healthcare, education, and overall life expectancy, from scarcity and opportunity cost to elasticity market failures, inflation, and global trade. These are not isolated vocabulary words. They form a single, interconnected map. While expanding digits on a spreadsheet signal growth, the evidence of development is found in the widespread, tangible improvement of human health and education. Spending 20 minutes testing yourself on these building blocks ensures you can use them as precise tools to build your arguments in Paper 2. To support that journey further, connect with Fundoo Tutor for expert one-to-one guidance tailored to your child's learning needs. Mastering these logical bridges and algebraic shortcuts is what transforms a standard exam performance into an A-star result.